Hey guys, here we have my very last purchase from BananaHobby or Nitroplanes. I'll never be buying from them again. I do not recommend you buy this, but this is the F-15C from BananaHobby. It's made by Blitz RC Works, and I'll go over a few things on it, and then I'll talk about the bad stuff, because there's a whole lot of bad stuff. I have not flown it yet, but let me show you a couple of the cool things first, I guess, and then we'll go over the horrible things about it. First cool thing is the landing gear. Let me not have my hands in the way. Kind of cool. Steerable nose wheel. So that's cool. They do work fairly well. I had to set up a little adjustments because they wouldn't stay up to begin with. They were falling down, not very sturdy. So I had to adjust them, but with some adjustment they work okay. Front one seems really wobbly here, but should be alright. So okay, now this plane does have rudders. And the rudders came with no pre-drilled holes for the control arms. So I had to stick those through. It was a pain in the butt. The ailerons and elevator had the pre-drilled holes, made it a lot easier. I ordered this. First off, a couple things that were not correct when I ordered it. First off, I ordered it with the normal version, no thrust vectoring. It came with thrust vectoring. I didn't want that because my AMX jet, which is made by the same company, thrust vectoring was horrible. And once again, it's horrible, so I disabled it. Didn't level out good, it was just bad. And I ordered the normal version without thrust vectoring, like I said, but they sent me the version with it. Not sure why they did that, not very pleased with that. I know you think, oh, it's an upgrade, you should be happy. No, I didn't want it. I didn't want it on there, that's why I ordered it without it. Second thing is, on the website, this says it comes with a 2200 milliamp 4-cell 25C battery. It's not what it came with. It came with a 2200 4-cell 20C battery. Yeah, not a huge deal, but a lie. 25C is going to give you more power, going to make the plane, take off easier, more power in the air. So 25C compared to 20C that I got, you might say not a huge deal, but I think it's kind of bad. You shouldn't be lying on your website about what you're going to be sending with your planes. Okay, so first off, like I showed, it has the rudder, has your ailerons, and now the very worst part of the plane is the elevator. Now they're working, not very good, and you'll see why. Check this out. You know how ailerons and rudders shouldn't really move? If you try to tap them, they don't really move. They might, move a millimeter or so because you're putting some pressure on them. But the servo is supposed to hold them in place, right? Check this out. This is my elevator. They just wobble like crazy without much movement at all. They just are wobbly. Horrible. Okay, so that's the first huge problem. And now I even did some modifications, and we got more problems, so hold on. I did some modification to the elevators here. They originally came with only this connector. It connected from the servo to here, and it was horribly wobbly. So I tried to add on a second control arm and push rod to have two different control arms going to it. That helped, but not very much. It's still wobbly. And this is with the help of my second push rod. Before, it used to just move even more. Way crazy amounts of movement. So I'm kind of thinking I can't fly this until I do some more modification, because this is just horrible. You don't want to have no elevator control, and this one's even worse. Should not be moving like that. The servo's not moving even. I'm not putting any strain on the servo, it's just moving. So, horrible there. Okay. Another thing that was wrong with it is my aileron servos. They work, but they did not work how they had it set up. This is just a huge mess of wires under here, okay? No way to really find out which wire goes where without ripping them all out. So I plugged in my ailerons and everything was working. The thrust vector was working. Everything else was working, but my ailerons on the wings were not working. I made sure everything's plugged in right, it was, and just wouldn't work. My ailerons would not work. I was getting thrust vectoring from here where one would go up, one would go down. Of course, I told you I disabled that later. But my ailerons wouldn't work. So what I actually ended up doing is, if you can see here, this is the original wire that comes down, and here it is. It's not plugged into my aileron. I used my own servo extenders, brought them up to a Y harness, and then plugged them into the aileron port of the receiver. So now my ailerons work. They did not work with how they sent the plane. All their little mess of wires down here, I don't know what's down there, didn't work though. However they had it set up, it didn't work, and I decided to just put in my own extenders for the servo lines and a Y harness and plug in my ailerons. So the ailerons work that way. But yeah, that's the F-15C. I put an AR-6200 receiver in it. I was expecting this to be a good plane, so I put a good receiver in it, but with these elevators how they are, that's the main problem. It took me hours to modify this and to get it even working as it is. And now I'm just stuck on these elevators that are horrible. I mean, any wind when you're in the air is going to push these around. Like, this has a 70 millimeter fan and a 4-cell battery, so it should be, you know, kind of comparable to the Habu in speed. Now it might be a little slower. The parts aren't as good, of course. You know, the Habu's got good quality motor and a bigger ESC and stronger battery. But this thing should still be comparable kind of in speed. And as you know on the Habu, if you've ever had it or looked at any of them, even any of the other Park Zone or E-flite planes, you're not supposed to have movement like this. This is going to get blown around and flopped around in the air, and the plane's going to have no stability. Hold on, I got a lawnmower going by outside. Or maybe it's a wind blower. Just show these a little bit more. And this is just crazy. These are supposed to control my plane? That's not going to control anything. That's going to cause a bunch of flopping. So I've got to do some more heavy modification to this tail section and figure out how I can sturdy this up, because this is just ridiculous. It's really, you know, it's just ridiculous. I was hoping to fly this, but like I said, there's nothing I can do. If I hold the elevators up, as you can see, it's still wiggling. Wind is just going to blow that around, and we're going to have no stability in the air. And the other side's even worse. We're going to have no stability in the air with that. That's just ridiculous. So, I don't know what to do about that. I got to figure out some type of modification. Everything else works okay though, like I said. We'll show you the cool part once more. It's my first plane with retracts, so I'm kind of think that's cool, but I can't even fly it because we got no elevator. So there you have it, the F-15C by Blitzworks RC, I'm pretty sure. Let me look at the box. Yeah, it's by Blitz RC Works, and another piece of junk from BananaHobby. So I'll keep you guys updated, and when I do fly it, I will record it, because, you know, I probably won't fly it till I get those elevators evened out, and then it'll probably fly okay. But I will record it because I'm expecting a crash, especially if I don't do much to the elevators. But I need to do something to the elevators. One other thing I thought was weird is there's a huge weight in the nose cone, like very heavy. I didn't weigh it, I should have, but it was really heavy. And you know, that's just added weight to the plane. I guess they had to do that to level out the CG of it. But you would think they could make it better, put the battery in a better place, something, so they wouldn't have to add a huge weight to the plane. I mean, more weight in the plane equals a slower plane, you know, harder, you know, not necessarily harder to control because they fixed the CG, but you would think they could do something with the making of it and make it properly so they didn't have to add a huge weight. Like, seriously, this nose cone, which you glue on, the whole inside of it is a big metal cylinder. Like, it's a big metal cylinder in there, so thought that was quite odd too. But anyways, like I said, I'll keep you guys updated and we'll see what happens with this thing.